is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Hope you guys are having a good week, though for me, I know I'm ready for the weekend. Hit that like button, drop an amen down below in the comment section if you're ready for the weekend like I am. But anyways, we are talking about Lord Vader today and kind of giving a progress update on what we're seeing with him inside of Grand Arena with 3v3 with CX2 and Apo. We're going to see how he's doing on offense. We're going to talk about what he's doing on defense, what some really good counters we've seen so far that don't require Galactic Legends. We're going to talk about that. Going to kind of go over what we're seeing as well with that datacron and how much that datacron is carrying this team right now. We're going to break that all down in today's video. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's dive into it. So Lord Vader, with Apo and CX2, they have made what's pretty much the meta in terms of 3v3 defense right now. Now, the reason for this is that because of the lift that you get with Apo and CX2, specifically within Apo with his Coruscant Commander buff that he gets, and that is through his Vader's Fist ability here. If there is no Galactic Legend on the enemy team, Apo gets this buff called Coruscant Commander, and with this, it means that he cannot be defeated while Lord Vader is active. Additionally, with this as well, CX2 is also harder to hit. This means that if you're not using a Galactic Legend, you have to take out Lord Vader before you take out the Dark Side clones. So the amount of ways that you can beat this team are really cut down if you're not using an opposing Galactic Legend. Really makes them pretty strong on defense. You also have the datacron with this team as well, and this is something that I suspect is really hard carrying this team right now, but we'll see how things go once we get rid of this datacron. Because within this datacron, you're able to constantly apply Order 66 whenever dots expire on the enemy team. This is helpful in that Order 66 means that the enemy cannot gain buffs, can't be revived, but also that Order 66, through some hidden text that we have seen in CX2's unique, which has not been updated yet. I've pinged CG about it, and I did a PSA video on this the other day. If you guys haven't watched it, definitely go check it out. Within the Focus and Determined unique for CX2, every time Order 66 is applied to an enemy character, Lord Vader gains 25% ult. Now, he can't gain that ult while he's in his ultimate form with Ashes of the Republic, but once he's outside of that, he's able to get that ultimate charge through Order 66. So that's pretty big. That's something that I really does need to be inside the text here for Focus and Determined. It's in the game files. We can see it if you go and look into the kit details on swgoh.gg. We are getting 25% ultimate with Order 66. So that's kind of what's going on with the datacron for Apo and why the Lord Vader teams, especially against a team that's getting a lot of cleanses, is able to supercharge the ultimate on Lord Vader. Now, I suspect that datacron is really helping to kind of carry this team because that is giving a lot of ultimate to this character and it's really making the Order 66 easy to apply. But I also think that even without the datacron, this is still going to be a very, very strong team in terms of defense. Just the fact that these three characters, even without that datacron, that Coruscant Commander buff, and then CX2, while, let's see, I believe it's under, is it under Focus and Determined? No, so I believe it's under Chose the Wrong Side. Yeah, so Apo's there, you get CX2 able to ignore taunt, and then you also have the instant defeat immunity inside of 3v3 Grand Arena, the fact that damage over time effects are constantly being applied. Yeah, here it is, CX2 is immune to taunt effects, cannot be targeted during enemy turns. Like, that's big. That's a very important Grand Arena Omicron, especially considering they also get 100% bonus max health. The unique, as even without the Omicron, can still give a lot of offense to the enemy, to the Empire allies. So this is still going to be a very good team without that datacron, but man, with that datacron, this team is just absolutely disgusting on defense right now. On offense, they're still pretty good too. That's what I'm kind of doing recordings on, and we're gonna do a offensive footage after this next round of GAC, just kind of showing what this team can do on offense. What I have found in terms of what this team can beat on defense or on offense is they're actually no, this is the defensive. So on offense, they do okay against Galactic Legends. The one team that does seem to give them issues right now is Galactic Legend Rey with Ezra there. Leia, I think, is also going to be a very hard counter to this team, especially without that Apo datacron, because Leia with R2-D2 constantly dispelling damage over time effects. So you can get Lord Vader's AoE, you get 6 dots, they cleanse all those. CX2's Omicron only puts 1 dot back on. But this also combines with the fact that they're just cleansing dots constantly. And yeah, they do stack up over time, but without the fact that but without being able to stack up all those damage over time effects, you can't get the Order 66 through Apo. CX2 takes a while to get his Order 66 built up. He has to attack the same character 3 turns in a row. It cannot be through assist. It does not work through assist. It must be targets on his turn. So you can call CX2 to assist all you want, but that's not going to help build up the Order 66 any quicker. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, Leia, I think, is going to be a pretty hard counter to a Lord Vader team once we get that Apo datacron off. Yeah, you can see here, everyone's just using the Apo datacron on this. And let's see, can we get, yeah, here's the failures on offense. Now, granted, these are people without relics. Let's see, yeah, here's like a Relic 5 Apo, a Relic 3 CX2, and they are punching up in terms of relics. That's where you're seeing most of these, like a 6 and 4 against like a 9 and 9. Yeah, so here, like, you've got a Relic 7 on CX2 and Apo both, with a Relic 8 Lord Vader against a Relic 8 Galactic Legend Leia, with Relic 8 on Drogon and R2. Granted, there is the Omicron on Drogon as well, and there's a pretty decent defensive datacron here as well. Lots of armor penetration, lots of offense, crit chance, crit damage. So you do see that if there's a pretty decent datacron on the opposing Leia, even with solid relics at Relic 7 with Apo and CX2 and Relic 8 on Lord Vader, still not doing well. Like, he just retreats. Like, so he just wasn't getting anywhere on this. This is something that I am finding on offense. Is just Leia is just a really tough team for Lord Vader to get through. Now, we'll see what happens in 5v5, and I do have to mention, Disguised Clone Trooper, I think, is going to be a better match for Lord Vader on offense, especially against these Rey teams. Like, you can see, we're only getting a 40% win rate against a Rey team. I think if you bring in Disguised Clone Trooper and you swap him out for Apo, you may be able to get something here. With Order 66, though, that's going to be tough, because you do need to get the stuns and ability blocks, so it takes a while. That could be something there, because what Disguised Clone Trooper does a lot of massive damage against Jedi and light side unaligned Force users. So Disguised Clone Trooper can be a hard counter to Rey in the right composition and with the right strategy, but you do need that 3v3 Omicron for CX2, and without Apo, you don't have a reliable stun at the start of the match, which means it's tougher for Disguised Clone Trooper to get his Order 66 out. That's something I am fighting. In 5v5 against like a Jedi team or against light side unaligned Force user team like Rey, I think 5v5 is just going to absolutely destroy it. Use Apo to put a stun on a character, you apply Order 66 with Disguised Clone Trooper, and then you just let him go ham. He's going to do a ton of massive damage to the enemy character. He's going to wipe out some characters once we get the relics on him. I think that Disguised Clone Trooper is going to be part of what makes a good offensive version of a Lord Vader team. So offense here, not looking too good right now, even against a Jedi Master Kenobi, though I suspect that is because those are through, yeah, here it is, yeah. So you've got low gear. People are really trying, but yeah, you can see all those retreats. But if you look at the ones that are winning, I mean, you see here like Relic 9 on the CX2 and Apo, Relic 9 on Lord Vader. Apo pretty much does help counter the Jedi Master Kenobi teams, and that's through the unique on Apo. If you go and pull up Apo with him, and I believe, yeah, where is it? Yeah, dispelling foresight on enemies constantly and exposing them. So Apo is what kind of helps counter those Jedi teams. That's part of what makes this team tick against a Jedi Master Kenobi team. So I suspect the win rates here against a Jedi Master Kenobi team in particular are skewed because people are trying low gear Apo and CX2, which means that datacron's not working as well. So we'll see how this pans out in the future. This should be a hard counter for Jedi Master Kenobi. I think Leia's going to give us the most trouble. You can see we're working okay against Jabba, though I suspect if we go and look at that again, we've got some low gear. Man, we are really trying with this. But yeah, no datacrons because you just can't. But yeah, you can see with the wins here, high relics on this. In my testing, I have not had an issue against Jabba. So this one I think is going to be perfectly fine once people build up the relics onto the two clones with Lord Vader. This should be pretty good on offense against teams like Jabba, against teams like Jedi Master Kenobi. The Rey one in particular is going to be interesting to see what happens here. I suspect, yeah, here you go, like even against, yeah, look at this. So the first one we pull up here, that's a loss against a Rey team. is with high relics on CX2 and Apo. So this one, I think, is where you're going to want something like Disguised Clone Trooper against that team. Yeah, like the first one, seeing 2 Relic 9 clones and losing against Galactic Legend Raid team, not ideal. Now you can see they've also got a pretty good, that's a lot of armor penetration and crit damage. So yeah, this team, this was a jacked up raid team here with that datacron. That's a lot of damage on this team. Yeah, you can see here on this, you got lots of armor penetration, and that's something we're going to talk about with offense as well against Lord Vader teams. If you go over here and look on defense, what we're seeing so far is Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is doing pretty well against Lord Vader on defense. Leia, again, I think Leia is just going to be a hard counter. Once that datacron goes away, I don't think Leia is going to have any issues fighting against a Lord Vader team. I think Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is going to do just as well too, because he's able to help kind of cleanse the dots from his team. Rey, with all her Omicrons, really does juice up Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. I would not be surprised if without the datacron, we see a 2-man team with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren and Darkside Vision Rey against Lord Vader teams. I think that's going to be a possibility. We've seen that before. They can do it against Leia teams, just those 2 characters. I think Lord Vader is going to be in that same vein where they are just able to wipe out those teams with just those 2 characters. We'll see how it all goes in the future, but you can see we're also running really strong datacrons here. Lots of armor penetration. That is a lot. That's too much armor penetration. But that's what we're kind of seeing here too, is we're having to match datacron for datacron. Like, look at all the armor penetration and crit damage with these Apo datacrons, what we're having to run here. That, I think, is, once we get rid of the Apocron, you're still going to have some strong stuff like armor penetration, crit damage on some of these crons on the Lord Vader teams. And that, I think, is part of where you're going to have to run some pretty strong crons as well against him on defense. I don't think he's going to be terrible without the cron, but without that Apocron, this should not be as difficult as we're seeing right now. The other one that I do want to mention, and it's down here, and we're not getting we've seen some people do it, but the one thing I do want to mention with this is, let me see. Let me change... Yeah, so let me change these down to like Relic 7, and let's see. The one thing, yeah, okay, so first off, Bo-Katan Mandalore counters against Lord Vader are dead. I mean, 70 battles, only a 1.4% win rate, that's bad. So if I had to guess, that's against a low gear. Oh, wow, so it is against Relics, okay, so that's interesting. Beskar Mando with IG-12 and Grogu and Bo-Katan, 53 battles, a 1.8% win rate. So Bo-Katan is pretty much dead against a Lord Vader team here. This is not going to work. And we know that this is going in line with what they said here, but one team that does seem to be working pretty well is going to be Seer Junda, Wistar Killer, and Malicos. Now, the data here is a little skewed, and I suspect that is because... Well, no, they are running some high armor penetration. This one, I think, without the Apocron is going to work a lot better. But from what I'm seeing with people, you throw on Star Killer and Malicos under a Seer Junda lead for this team, and you take them in, and it should be able to beat a Lord Vader team. Now, this should be easier once we get rid of that Apocron, and we'll see what we get in the future with this. And this is one I've seen people discuss, and people are kind of wondering. I've gotten some concerns from viewers about this because of some wording that they've done within, I believe it was CX2 and Apo's. Let's see, sorry for the flashbang there. Here it is, yeah. So with Apo, when they're talking about what you need to counter him, they say you want to bring in anything. It's going to make it hard to counter if you bring anything less than a Galactic Legend, as you need to defeat Lord Vader before Apo can be defeated, which of course also means CX2 is difficult to defeat as well. And then there's also in CX2's kit, they mentioned that Fennec should no longer be able to counter Lord Vader, which is what we've seen so far. And if a scenario occurs where she can still manage win, they will intervene. Now, there's been a little confusion with this. I had one viewer bring up the concern that, yeah, so Seer, Star Killer, and Malicos can beat Lord Vader. What does, are they going to nerf Seer? Are they going to have to buff the team even more? In my opinion, I would be totally okay with this counter for the fact of the sheer amount of Omicrons you're having to bring on this team to be able to reliably defeat Lord Vader. You're talking at least an Omicron on Seer Junda's lead here with Grand Arena. You've also got multiple Omicrons on Starkiller. You've got multiple Omicrons on Terran Malicos. This is going to require a hefty Omicron investment on these 3 characters. You're bringing in a legendary and a conquest character both under a Seer Junda lead. That's a hefty investment, and that I think is perfectly okay. I am perfectly okay with that being used to defeat a Lord Vader team, because there's no, like, for that amount of investment and what you're having to bring in with those 2 teams, like, I see no reason why that would be an issue. So I do expect the Seer Junda with Starkiller and Malicos to be very reliable, and I do not see any action being taken from CG on that. Just to kind of assuage some fears there, there's no reason for that to be something that gets nerfed. They do mention you're going to need a strong team, and that's a pretty strong team. That's a lot of Omicrons. You're ideally looking at 7 Omicrons on that team for Grand Arena. I think that's perfectly acceptable. That's a lot of Omicrons. So yeah, we're gonna see what this team does without these Omicrons here in another few months. We're still waiting on the kit reveal for Scorch, who I suspect is going to have a 5v5 GAC Omicron. We're gonna see what we get here with this, but in the future, without this Apo Datacron, we've got some pretty strong counters to this team on offense already. Supreme Leader Kylo Ren and Galactic Legend Leia both look like they're going to work pretty well. One I want to bring up is Darth Bane. Darth Bane seems to be having issues against Lord Vader, which was not on my bingo card. Now, if you bring Sith Eternal Emperor in as a lead, and then you bring in Darth Bane under him, you get better win rates here. But these win rates so far, 15% with Sith Assassin, 3% with Sith Trooper, 5.8% with Count Dooku. It looks like Darth Bane's having some issues. Now, Lord Vader with Darth Bane seems to be working pretty well. 100% win rate with 14 battles here. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty tasty, but that's requiring Lord Vader and Darth Bane. You're basically bringing in 2 Galactic Legends to beat 1 Galactic Legend. So, I'm surprised to see Darth Bane having some issues. We're going to see how that all pans out in the future as well. Again, how much is the Apo Datacron causing this? How much is that Order 66 blocking Darth Bane as well, preventing him from getting those buffs on his team? We're going to see how that all pans out in the future, but I want to hear from you guys on this. How are you guys doing with Lord Vader? Are you using him on offense or defense? How have your success rates been? Have you guys been fighting Lord Vader? Let me know what you guys are experiencing with Lord Vader and against Lord Vader down below. As always, if you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys next time.